7-8 months of negotiation.
And then we finally dug it out of there and brought it back. And then I took it directly to Grand National.
Yep.
So everyone could see it. And then I took it to Detroit, an overpass, and broke the frame in half on the T in the trailer. And had to go to a buddy's shop and weld it all back together. It was only 16 gauge.
Really?
The frame.
Really
the original aluminum one had been replaced.
On the recreation or the restoration, will you copy the original aluminum
I will
frame?
make a proper aluminum.
Right.
Yeah. Everything will be exactly the way it should have been. Mm-hmm. And they changed the whole back end. It had coilovers. And what's weird is like nobody will cop to it. Like the dude that's had it, there's only 2 people that ever had it.
Right.
And neither one of them will own making the shit frame that broke.
Your list of suspects is low.
Yeah.
It's either you or you.
Hey, welcome to Car Guy Confessions, brought to you by ARP. I'm Jeff Smith. This is my car buddy Cam Benty and car builder Steve Strope, and we're going to tell you some stories.
Welcome back to... let's say it.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to Car Guy Confessions without Jeff Smith. Jeff is out. I think he's being fitted for yoga pants.
Well, he's practicing for his tour to
Iowa.
Tour to Iowa. We need to make shirts for him.
His girlfriend is very athletic, and
Hi,
she's
Jeff.
into
We're
biking.
picking on you.
Absolutely, that's what we're doing. And she's a yoga instructor. That's why I said,
wow.
Can you imagine?
No, I can't.
Mr. Exercise. There you go. Does it count when you're degreeing a camshaft?
No.
In yoga pants?
No.
It's a look, isn't it?
Why are you putting that in my head?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Thank you to the folks at ARP, arp-bolts.com. Please make sure you tune in there. We are at the Petersen Museum once again and enjoying ourselves again.
With its billion-dollar background.
That's right.
A wonderful set.
I'm Cam Benty, automotive something, and I have Steve Strope, who is a consummate custom car builder, designer, awarded accolades. Keep going. All right, very good.
Yeah, bring it on.
And today our guest is Dave Shuten, and officially, are you on Galpin? You work for Galpin?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the Galpin Speed Shop.
Galpin Speed Shop, which sounds very cool. It's a good deal.
It's a pretty cool spot.
Absolutely. You came out of Detroit, though, correct? You were a Detroit guy?
Yeah, I came from Michigan.
What'd you do in Michigan?
Aside from build cars, I was a tool maker for GM.
Really?
Yeah, for close to 20 years.
For which division?
Well, every division. The die
so
makers just made everything. The last dies I think I made were for the Chevy Cruze, the Hummer, and the Camaro. So that was 20 years ago.
So the current job is very similar then? Not.
Well, all the current jobs are in Korea.
That's true. I mean, I understand from that standpoint, but what you do is you work on some very, very cool cars.
Yeah.
I mean, you were responsible for what you said was the largest collection of Ed Roth vehicles existing today.
Correct, yeah.
So you had to find them, fix them, research them, everything else that goes with it.
Yeah, or in one instance, even recreate one that was lost, to just how things go over time.
Which one was that?
That was the Mysterion.
Right, the one with the Ford big blocks.
Yeah, the twin engine car.
That theoretically broke in half, or the motors got lifted out of it, or something.
It did break in half many times.
Oh, lovely.
And Roth traded that back to Bob Larrabee. He traded it to Bob Larrabee for how did that work? For the Beatnik Bandit and the Outlaw. And somehow Larrabee kind of got screwed on that deal because he got a car that kept breaking in half.
I know who he's talking of.
Bob Larrabee, ISCA, the International Show Car Association.
Yes.
Oh, look at that. I pulled that out of my shorts. Okay.
Way to go.
So they traded. Okay. Interestingly enough, I work in the archive here at the Petersen.
Okay.
And I found several photos of the Mysterion in its original display.
Yeah.
And initially I was like, well, I kind of know what this is. And then I did my research and it all came flooding back. So you actually recreated the entire vehicle.
Yeah, I reverse engineered it from the model kit back at my home garage in Michigan, 20 years ago.
From the model kit, from the plastic model
Yeah.
kit? Wow. Well, that's different.
It's a pattern.
There wasn't anything else to go by.
I guess. A few
photos and magazines.
So everything is hand formed. You built everything.
Yeah, just from scratch.
Hammered it out.
Well, that one is fiberglass.
Okay.
So you sculpt the body out of plaster and make a buck and lay the glass over it, and then knock out the buck and throw it away. It's messy, but it's fun.
I bet. Were you a big Roth fan as a kid?
I was inspired by Ed because everything that he did was way more art than it was car. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of hit different as far as, the box sort of didn't exist in his world. So he was just so far out there, even from the other custom builders at the time. Nobody had his imagination.
Where did Ed Roth come from? Do you have the background on him? I'm curious where the genesis of that.
Well, he was an artist, and a custom car painter, and which slowly evolved into like what became the Crazy Painters with, the Baron, Ed Roth, and Tom Kelly, and around that time they airbrush started to happen, and he got.
And then Newt, was in his.
Well, Newt was his art director, and then Robert Williams replaced him as art director. But when he found out that he could airbrush these shirts and sell them, he got more excited about things.
Which was known as the weirdo shirts, right? Basically,
I think that's what they
shirts,
called them on
stuff.
Leave It to Beaver, were the weirdo shirts. That was a funny episode. But anyways...
So it was actually in an episode?
It was, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he got in trouble for spending his lunch money on a monster shirt and got sent home from school or something.
Are these the Ratfink era things?
Yeah, but they were a little more grotesque than that.
Yeah.
Ratfink was sort of tamed. Yeah, there was
the eyeballs.
Right,
I built those kits when they were new. I mean, that whole deal with the big stick shifts and the whole thing, and the giant monsters coming out of the sky. Which was very cool. Very cool.
And how the cars came about was he saw these people that were building cars, and they got to go into the car shows and sell stuff for free. So that's why he started building cars, is so he could get a booth for free and then sell all the T-shirts that he was painting and royalties from the models.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's an amazing era of custom car stuff. I mean, again, the Petersen Museum, looking in the archive, I find a 1959 Oakland Roadster show photo overview of the floor, showing what it looked like in the cars. And
I have it.
Yeah. There you go. But it's amazing to see just the diversity of different shapes and sizes and changes, and nothing's the same. I mean, we find today that a lot of cars are the same. Not your cars. Your cars are always very amazing and very different. There's a lot of difference there. But when I look at this Oakland Roadster show photo, I mean, it's just fascinating to see what the different takes are. Maybe a 57 T-Bird, but none of them look the same, and they're all very, very cosmetically different. They just feel so odd. But it's this guy's personal passion that caused this vehicle to end up the way it did, and I thought that was really amazing. So Roth, what he did, I mean, what a character. I mean, go ahead.
So obviously you like the Ed Roth mantra per se. Does that also mean you like stuff like Stagecoach?
You mean Boo Hill Express
Boo
or
Hill,
Stage
well,
Fright?
there was Stagecoach or Stage Fright. Sorry, Boo Hill Express, which
we have both of those.
I used to film down here in the basement before they changed all this, and I'd be right next to.
I think that's where
Boo
we
Hill
got
Express.
those, was from here.
And I just saw it. I just did an event over at in Nebraska at the Museum of Speed there at Speedways, and they had the Boot Hill there. But also like other guys that were working just in the model world, like Tom Daniels, who is extremely creative. Yep. I grew up doing that stuff, and before I opened my shop, I did prototype work for Mattel.
Okay.
I would kit bash and do lots of stuff because this was before there was any rapid prototype machines.
Sure.
So you'd get a drawing from one of the designers like Larry Wood or whoever, and we'd have to make the first one.
For sure.
Out of nothing. And so model building was huge for me. There was definitely the gateway drug into building full-size cars. And I still was building models while I was building full-size cars. But is it safe to assume that you also like that stuff too?
Oh, yeah. I have hundreds of models.
Right.
Yeah, it's an obsession since
vein,
I was a kid.
That vein
and all
of
show
stuff.
rods, all show rods.
Show rods, great.
Any
Excellent
kind
definition.
of show car that's specifically built to just be as outrageous as it can be.
A crazy
That's what
themed
I'm
car.
into. Like even these prototype cars are rad because they had a lot of that in them. Of course, it never made it to production, but
Sure.
they still threw a lot of chrome at them. They tried stuff with the bubble tops, and they were trying. They couldn't get there, but
So I'm leading you with that.
Yeah.
So because I know I am aware of the collection you oversee, and excited that you guys found the Uncertainty. That's really, really fantastic.
That's
Saw it.
one of the newest ones, isn't it?
that's the latest one.
Yeah, and that's a huge.
I hope the
huge
last one
find.
for a while because I don't know if I can keep up. Honestly, it's a lot.
And that was right up the aisle from my display at Grand National, so I got to go up
okay.
and take a look at that. Perfect World wish list either was a real car or model kit. If you could build it, what would it be that you haven't done? So it can be anything. It can be a Tom Daniels model. It could be, the beer wagon, which was cool.
Beer wagon was different.
Yep, great model.
Interesting. It's a pretty good question.
If you could do it, and you haven't done it yet, and it could be a real one, either recreate it or find it and restore it, or something that was a model kit that was never a real car, but boy, that would be really cool to make 1-to-1 scale. Do you have one of those?
The first one that comes to mind would be the Bugaboo.
Yes. I know what you're talking about.
I always really liked that Volkswagen dragster thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a rail dragster. It's real long in the front. See, I know. Because I have problems. I like that one.
And there's so many. Like I would love to do the Tijuana Taxi. I would love to do the garbage truck.
Ah, yes, with the TV and the band in the back.
Right.
Right?
There's probably 50, Like I also, one of the things...
You got to narrow it down.
I don't know. One of the ones that's currently waiting is the Pie Wagon, Tom Daniels Pie Wagon.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that was never a real car, but it's going to be.
Awesome.
Was never a real car. So this is just a model.
It was a model kit.
So
yeah.
Model kit.
What are you basing that on? Or what was that?
It was totally
Just
scratch
a
built.
scratch built thingy. Going to be glass.
Yeah.
Anybody ever did? Oh no, it was a real car. Surflight. That little thing with the surfboard that sliced.
The Surflight? Yeah, that lives in Orange County.
Yeah, that was a real car, right?
Yep.
It
was here once. And,
Was it?
And it was at the Laguna Art Museum when they had the custom culture exhibit.
Was that a Roth? Yeah, that was
Roth.
That was a Roth car.
It was built on a Mini Cooper.
So that's a very cool discussion.
Tarantula, I like.
The Tarantula's a really good one.
Yeah.
That's
That
a
is
really good one.
extremely cool. I love that kit.
so much
Love the
work to
twin
do.
blowers.
Well, a few years ago, I was talking with Jeff Dunham, who I've done quite a few cars for over the years.
That's the comedian?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know how familiar you are with early Hot Wheels, but
I unfortunately am because of
there's
working for
one
them.
from, I want to say 1970 called the 6-shooter.
Yep.
And I was going to build that for him
Nice.
into a real car, a drivable car.
Wow.
But, things change.
Did you
But
like
I'd still be into that.
Yeah.
Was it Newt that did the ice?
The ice truck?
Ice
We
truck.
have the ice truck.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
I found that in Fresno.
That's
Sent
cool.
money to Blackie Jajian, and he went and bought it and sent it back to Michigan for me, and I restored it back there like
How cool is that?
18 years ago.
Super cool.
It was being turned into a rat rod with a tractor grill.
Oh, please.
It was horrible.
Oh, boy.
And the milk truck I found in Canada, in Toronto, and brought it back. But I was poor, and I could only get one out of the two, and I left the super van sitting there which Dunham owns now. And I think I'm going to be restoring for him in the next couple of years.
So how many cars does he have?
Couple hundred.
Couple hundred?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's got a lot.
That's impressive. So the question comes down to, I mean, nothing happens without money. Do we not know?
Yeah.
So how did this collection start? What was the ignition to this deal, and who's the driving force behind it now?
So, it all started with Bo Bachman of Galpin Ford, obviously.
And
Bo is the president of all of Galpin.
Galpin
Motors, Galpin everything.
Galpin's still the largest Ford dealership
in the world.
In the world.
And number one for 45 years or something.
Long time.
A really long time.
Corner of Roscoe and Sepulveda or something like that. Okay.
Roscoe and the 405.
Roscoe and the 405.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So and also Bo was famous for...
Oh, shit. You're not going to bring that up,
Sure,
are you?
I got to throw that up. Because some people will get in that. Pimp My Ride. The second generation, correct?
I don't know anything. I
Okay,
never
good
watched
enough.
it. I will never
Okay.
cop to even being remotely acquainted
Just
with
leave
that.
it as we'll leave it as Exhibit A.
Yeah. No.
I agree with that
That was
stance.
television for
Okay.
10-year-old females.
Correct. Fair enough. There you go.
Fair enough.
Covered it. Okay. So,
However, my buddy Exhibit was on there, and he's rad.
he seems like a nice
I'll
guy.
leave it there.
I've seen him a couple
X
times.
is great.
Seen him. So okay. So Bo would be known on television for that reason,
Yes.
but he is actually a very important executive within the whole Galpin empire.
And with Ford Corporate, he's on the board of
course.
designers and
Oh,
board
yes,
of,
okay.
Yeah, he's very, very intimate with Ford. And how the collection sort of started was with Ed Roth's Rotar. That was the first. He bought it on eBay,
Really.
and
Were you brought in as an expert to restore it for
no,
him?
that one he bought pretty well done. And then following that, Orbitron was, well, no, let me
Okay.
back up. I tried to sell him the Mysterion that I built
Oh, okay.
because he paid a lot of money for Rotar. And he didn't buy it, but I ended up selling that to Ralph Whitworth for the Winnemucca collection. So I met Bo there.
Nevada?
Yeah.
Winnemucca? There's a collection in
there
Winnemucca?
used to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It was
That's
going to
the
be the
middle of it.
best.
Wow.
Sorry, Petersen, but it was going to be the best automotive museum. It just didn't happen because little towns are greedy. Anyways,
That's the middle of nowhere.
yeah, but it was Ralph's hometown. He wanted
Okay.
to do something nice for the town.
Well, that was nice. Okay.
Yeah. So, anyways, that didn't work. And then right after that, since Bo and I already knew each other, when Orbitron was found in Mexico by our friend Michael, in front of a sex shop being used as a dumpster in Juarez, he brought
Truth
it back
is
across the
stranger than
border,
fiction.
and Bo bought it from him, and then he brought me here to restore it.
Nice.
So that's how it all sort of began, and then it just
So
15 years of
Snowballed.
snowballs.
And you had created Mysterion.
I had already done Mysterion.
Was that your
Astro-
resume? Was that the resume that brought you in on this deal?
Well, yeah, I had done a bunch of them. I had done the ice truck, the milk truck, Astro Sled, Mysterion, all before I ever met Bo face to face.
I see. Okay. So you had all those.
And then,
Right.
I came here. We did that. It went great. I went back to work in Michigan, and then he had this crazy idea to do a Mustang, a '69 Mustang, from a shell to a done car live at SEMA in 3 days.
What year was that? Do you know? Era?
09.
09. Okay. Okay.
08 or 09. So I came out and I built the whole car, painted it, took it all apart, staged everything, and then we did that live on the Ford stage, which was interesting.
I think I remember that.
And then after that was over, I went back home. And about that time, General Motors was really closing a lot of plants, and they didn't really like all of us skilled tradespeople because we were big on the payroll and all that stuff. So, and the plant that I was in had almost 1,000 die makers in it. It was the biggest tool and die shop in the world at that point.
And they cut them all?
And that place is gone now. I just quit. I quit and moved here.
Wow.
And started doing this with Bo.
Hey, we'd like to thank our sponsor, ARP-bolts.com. We got a fantastic little backdrop here. They make an outstanding series of bolts, almost anything you would need for engines, chassis, things like that. In fact, we were at lunch today, and the guy asked you about the bolt on the back of your shirt, and and I said, well, it's really about a head bolt. They neck the stem down of the bolt on a small block Chevy head bolt, so the clamp load is even across 3 different head bolt lengths on a small block Chevy. And, so that's the kind of technology that you get out of ARP. And we've all got stories on all that stuff.
Well, for a translation of what he said, call ARPbolts.com.
But the message is that you can't get any better than that.
No, you cannot.
There you go. Next. We'd like to thank our friends at InTheGarageMedia.com. They have 3 fantastic magazines. They've got Classic Truck Performance. They have Modern Rotting and my favorite, All Chevy Performance with Nick, my buddy Nick,
you're
the editor.
Biased.
So, yes, of course. But it's a fantastic book. They're doing print media, which is, of course, our favorite. So
in color and everything.
In color and everything, and you can get your car on the cover of one of those books, which is a fun deal.
Great tech.
Great
written
tech.
by you
Not always written by me,
famous
but
people.
Yeah.
Famous people
Not
have written all the
always
tech.
written by me.
That's right.
Just
So
pick it
check
up and
them
read
out
it.
at InTheGarageMedia.com, and they're our friends, and they will thank you.
Are you a subcontractor or an employee?
No, I'm an employee.
Yeah.
Well, you have a certain skill set for sure, and a knowledge set. Well, knowledge set also.
Right.
So it wouldn't surprise me if he hired you to. You specialize in this thing, all right? Come in and I'll pay you. But
it's the best kind of job setup, really, because Bo and I are really close friends. We see things the same way. He 100% trusts me to just do what needs to be done, and he just lets me do it. That's probably the only way I can work with someone is if I just get to do what I do.
Right. Well, it's trust in your knowledge. Mm-hmm. Or why would you be there if you didn't,
For sure.
I understand that completely.
Yeah, I can't be managed in any kind of a way. If somebody tells me what to do, I'm out, like, instantly.
So the research with regards to these different vehicles, you've got a situation where do you get the vehicle first and then you research it, or is it you find yourself going that direction?
I have a list. I have lists.
All
so
right.
I have a list of the cars where I know where they're at and I'm trying to get them.
Okay.
I have another list of things that I don't know where they're at, but I want. And I have a list of things that are legit missing. Like nobody knows that I'm always sort of working on at the same time.
Give me 1 or 2 cars from each one of those lists. Like, you know where it is, you're trying to get it, but the deal hasn't been struck yet. 1.
Okay. Baris' Surf Woody.
Interesting.
You know where it is, and the guy's just not selling.
Correct.
That's good and frustrating.
I mean, all these people, this is what I've learned over all this time. And it took me a long time. It took me until probably just 2 years ago to make this realization of why people hold on to this shit, right? So I used to go to this guy's house that had the X-Sonic Corvette.
Okay.
For 15 years, I'd stop by this guy's place every time I was in the area. I would knock on the door. I would leave cards. I would call him.
Right.
I would bug him. And the car was never for sale. Ever for sale. And it occurred to me one day that if he didn't have that car, nobody
He doesn't
would
have
stop.
anything.
Yeah.
Nobody would call.
Right. It was,
I agree with your assessment.
So,
completely.
like, that's sort of their social...
And that's their existence.
Yeah. And it's sad in a way, but at the same time, like, you're always going to get that call. It might not be you that gets it. In this case, it was.
right.
I woke up to an email at 5 a.m. saying I need this much money in cash before noon. And
From that guy?
Yeah. And it's only available today.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's how it goes sometimes. But so you got to be ready to jump.
And Bo gives you that power.
Yeah. Yeah. He didn't like that one very much, but he did.
Yeah. I bet. How about something that you don't know where it is? So we can put it out, America's,
Oh, yeah, sure.
America's
Okay.
Most Wanted Rat Fig Edition. There it is.
There. Bill Cushenberry silhouette.
Oh.
Yeah.
One of the first 16 Hot Wheels.
Yep.
Yeah.
I am familiar.
Built.
So as far as you know, never destroyed. Theoretically,
Not that
could
I'm
be out there.
aware of, but it's never surfaced.
After
In the 70s?
Wow. I think I buried that in a piece of lucite because I was playing with plastic one time. Buried that sucker in there. Forever.
Yeah.
Until the world goes
interesting.
away.
I obviously know the car you're
silhouette
talking
very
about.
well. Yes. That and the Beatnik Bandit. That was the other one.
Yeah, the Bandit's in Reno. That was...
Is it?
Yeah. They have the Beatnik Bandit 1 and 2 at the Reno Museum there. And I've taken care of those a couple times for them at some of the shows.
You know what? I do not know this. It's been a while since I've been down at your place. Since it's a Roth vehicle, do you have the Globe Hopper? That
Yes.
trike?
Yeah.
Did he have two?
Only one of those.
There was
One
only
Globe
one.
Hopper. And he drove it from Maywood to Alaska.
Yeah, and he showed up at like some NSRA show, and
He showed up at the
wouldn't
Street
let him
Rod
in.
Nationals in Minnesota, and they turned him away.
Right.
Little did they know.
Well, people are
Yeah.
inherently...
I
It
remember
doesn't
that.
fit in the box, so they're not going
Yeah.
to
You know, they did that to me with the ice truck at Billetproof.
No.
Why would they
They
turn that away though? Aren't those clowns like
Because
all
it had
about
billet on it,
heritage?
because in the 60s, billet was real. They just didn't know it.
Yeah, but you would think that would be outweighed
Yeah.
by the history.
No, it
and
was
the-
hilarious. I just laughed. I
Wow.
don't care.
Wow.
What a bunch of goofballs anyway. So yes, I said that. Sorry.
You must have this vast amount of a library of information that has come from each of these vehicles. Does each vehicle have like a big folder full of all this stuff that you collected from history? And
Yeah,
then,
but
and
it's
then stuff
mostly
you read?
in my head.
Yeah.
I keep references
Yeah.
that I find. You know, I have everything that's ever written about a car. When I do it,
Right.
to answer your earlier question, I don't think about anything until I have to, because my head's very full all the time. And if I try to cram too much in it, I have to start pushing things out of it.
Yeah.
And there's things I don't want to lose quite yet.
Sure.
But once I start like an Exonic or Uncertain T or an Ultimus,
Sure.
that's my
100%
entire
your focus.
brain
Got it.
while I'm doing it.
Got it.
So I find everything that was written, every photo. I've got all the ones from the archives.
Right.
I had all those pulled years ago because I knew I was getting them.
Sure.
You know, one of the other ones on that list is the Tiara T. I know where it is.
Don't think I
I've
remember.
known the dude for
Yeah.
30 years. He's the hardest person I've ever dealt with, but I'll get it.
Is other stuff like what was the one the Druid Princess?
That one's in a private museum in Missouri now. Yep.
That's an odd looking vehicle.
Well, that was built for the Addams family.
Oh,
And then it was
yeah,
never
that's
used
right.
in the TV show.
Right. Right.
The best part of that story is when Roth snuck a baby coffin out of the back of a funeral home to put on the back of it.
That's nice.
He was like a linear thinker, you know. There's everything was just all smooth. It was all easy for him. Never
So-
think out of the box.
Hoping, I don't think there's any deep dark secrets. If you can walk us through the basics of the deal for the Uncertainty. Was that a 5 a.m. email with show up at 12 o'clock with a bucket of cash, or was it being
No,
Was
no,
it being
this was the-
cultivated?
This was the opposite of that. This was, you know, I actively looked for that car for like 30 years.
As far as I knew, it was disappeared also, and nobody knew where it was. So I think that's what I'm digging, because I'm into this stuff too.
Yeah.
When did you land it? Did somebody tell you, I know where it is, or offer to
Well,
you, hey, we have it?
So I'll back up a little bit. When the first thing that I did when I moved to California, I'm going to give away one of my trade secrets on how I find all this crap.
Okay, nobody listened.
But I went on eBay and bought every phone book from San Fernando Valley from 1960 to 1970
Wow.
and tracked down every address that was ever
Wow.
Steve Scott's or his parents,
Okay.
and hopped every fence,
Very
went in
smart.
every backyard, looked in every garage. It was nowhere.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
But that's one of the ways that
Right,
you
that's
treasure hunt this kind of stuff.
Now that's one heck of a TV show.
Yeah, it is. And you
Just
get
imagine.
arrested today, Nate. But
Well,
That's
I mean,
fine.
I'm not
I
proud
love
of it,
it.
but
I'm
I
all
did
for
it.
it,
I don't
dude.
care.
But how fun would that be?
It would be interesting.
So-
I did
so-
find a Batmobile in a backyard
Did you?
in Rinaldi. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
How many were originally made? 5?
three,
Three.
and then 300 later.
Yeah, but the ones that originally that Baris made.
Yeah, we have number 2 at the shop.
You have 2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
And that one was what number?
I don't know.
Okay.
It was just a shell, and he wouldn't sell it.
how did I am
Okay,
most
so-
curious. How were you given
So Bo called
where it
me
is?
one day, and he goes, "Hey, I want you to come up here. We just got something, and you're going to want to look at this." So I go up there, and it's a folder that somebody sent him in the mail. We have this, and we're thinking of selling it, and we would like it to go to you.
now? Somebody reached out and offered.
Yeah, well, that's the way a lot. I mean,
Yeah, Leno gets that.
so many
constantly.
people reach out because of all the ones that I've done or whatever. It just
right.
they find us now.
Sure, I
But,
understand.
You know, that one went to Bo's office, which is interesting. But you know, the guy was really old, Dick Nickerson, that had it, and he's had it since the early '70s.
So now that how it's found wasn't an amazing murder mystery, somebody just said, "Hey, I got it. Do you want it?"
Right.
Yeah, but it wasn't quite that easy. It was nobody that's almost 90 is easy to work with.
Fair enough.
So it took about from the time we got the envelope to the time we got the car was 7-8 months.
Okay,
of-
negotiations.
Yes.
Where was it? Where was it exactly?
It was exactly 2 miles from my shop in Racine.
No,
Yeah.
Wow.
that must have been a mild mind blown.
It was weird, but he did state multiple times that he would not leave the car anywhere for long. He moved it all over. It was all the way in NorCal, north of San Francisco, in a vineyard
Why?
all over the valley.
Besides raging
in his mom's
paranoia.
friend's grandma's garage, just to keep it away from people like me. That was his whole goal.
You knew you were going in people's backyards.
And
Because he didn't want to have to offer to sell it.
It
Thought
was
someone
weird,
was going to
like he-
steal it. What was the? I get it, but again, there's
So-
got to be a motivation of some sort.
he is another one of these people that we're gonna get to it. And you know,
The
I've
world is full of
ended
that.
I
up
know
with-
all about
Oh,
those
my
people too.
God,
Trust
yeah.
me.
Yes.
But you know, someday you wake up and you're like 87, and you're
And
like,
I'm
yeah,
not
I'm
gonna
probably
get
not
to
going
it.
to do it.
No.
And then you know you have the discussion with them. It's a whole lot easier to leave your kids a check rather than something they don't know anything about.
Exactly. That they're going to
Also-
get ripped off. They're going to get ripped off for anyway. I've got a friend of mine who's got a pair of '67 fastback Mustangs in his backyard the last 35 years,
Yep.
and he is never going to get to them. Super nice guy. Not happening.
So 7-8 months of negotiation.
And then we finally dug it out of there and brought it back. And then I took it directly to Grand National
Yep.
so everyone could see it. And then I took it to Detroit, where right around St. Louis, I think I launched the truck and trailer off of an overpass and broke the frame in half on the T in the trailer.
Wow.
And had to go to a buddy's shop and weld it all back together. It was only 16 gauge,
Really?
the frame.
Really.
The original aluminum one had been replaced by a shitty, thin replacement.
Are you on the recreation or the restoration? Will you copy the original aluminum?
I will
frame?
make a proper aluminum.
Right.
Yeah. Everything will be exactly the way it should have been.
Mm-hmm.
And they changed the whole back end. It had coilovers. And what's weird is like nobody will cop to it. Like the dude that's had it, there's only 2 people that ever had it.
Right.
And neither one of them will own making the shit
modification?
frame that broke. So I don't understand.
Well, your list of suspects is low.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's either you or you.
Yeah. Not too many folks in that.
But it's really, I mean, that was the big one for me, you know.
That's trippy. It could have been anywhere in the world, and it was
Right.
a couple of miles from you.
Yeah, it was just in Reseda. It was crazy.
That's too funny.
Again, truth is stranger than fiction.
You bet.
Good Lord.
You bet. So
I thought that was a really cool find.
I think that's the
I'm
last big
understating
one.
it, but yeah, that is a biggie.
I think it's the last big one in that genre of cars. Like if I
Right.
find the Silhouette, nobody's going to care. Not
Well,
like
I'll
that.
care,
No.
but
Nobody will
as,
care like that.
not as
That was a
big
big
as
deal.
the Uncertainty. I will agree with that.
Hot Rod called the Orbitron the biggest barn find of all time, even though it wasn't in a barn. And I think Uncertainty is bigger than that.
Can be argued.
I'll agree. Just because of its historical influence
Yeah, and
spawned the model
the
kits and everything that it did.
and the endless drama online with the original builder and all the crazy model kit stuff that he tried to do. And
Right.
yeah, it's never been out of earshot, even though the car's been lost all that time.
How many Baris cars do you have? Quite a few.
I'm just gonna say 10.
10. All right.
There's probably more.
Yeah. What's the highlight vehicle of that?
The Hirahata Merc.
I was going to say,
Oh, there you go.
Hirahata.
Sure. Nothing bigger than that. Nothing bigger than
gorgeous
that.
car. But that's thanks to his talented brother.
Yeah,
Right.
Well,
Yes.
I'm
It's
just
true.
being blunt as a builder.
Yes.
Come on, let's
Yes.
I
get
get
real.
it, but none of us would be building if it wasn't for George,
It's true.
Fair enough.
because he's the one that put him in everybody's living room and turned every one of us into a car people.
I'm
Munster coach guy.
well. That was kind. I like
I mean,
the Dragula better.
Batmobile,
Dragula
Dragula.
was much better.
Dragula
Monster
was cool as
Coach.
shit.
Yes.
He
That's pretty fun
he
stuff.
mainstreamed custom cars.
That's-
He may have not touched every one of them with his hands,
Right.
Yeah.
but he knew who to call.
Yeah.
Junior Conway,
Oh,
Dean
yeah.
Jeffries.
Dean Jeffries.
You know, God, I
Absolutely.
miss Dean. Dean got me
Yeah.
kicked off an airplane once
Did he?
Dean got you kicked off an airplane.
Explain that.
because he was deaf
Yeah.
and he screams everything, and every other word was fuck.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh,
so how did you get
both-
kicked off?
you both
Because he
were
was yelling at me, and he was just trying to have a conversation because I was 2 seats away.
Nice.
That's it.
Yeah, we never left the ground in Detroit. We both
like
had
a-
to get off.
It's like a Gray Baskerville diner deal.
Yes, indeed,
Anyway.
indeed.
Yeah, it's crazy. But,
Ah.
did you? I remember in the '80s when Baris was having a really tough time. They had the auction. They had the auction.
that
up at-
auction.
Did you go to that auction?
No, I was still in high school.
I know what you're talking about.
That auction.
Same with me.
was
I graduated in
crazy.
'86, so
That auction was crazy.
I have the poster for that in my bathroom, and
Oh.
I've touched half the cars on that poster.
I went.
It's crazy.
We were there. There were 2 cars that were funny. It was like my friend Van and we went up there because it was like, oh, let's go see what's going on with this Baris deal. And he had I don't know how many cars he had. He had a lot of
It's like
cars.
60.
And he had what was it called, the Snake Pit with the 6 engines in it?
Yeah,
And
that's
we
in
were
the
sit-
UK now.
We were kind of going like, man, if that thing's got like 6 Boss motors in it, we can get it for like $4,000.
Yeah, just
We'll
take
just
the
take
motors
that-
out of it.
sell these motors.
Hell yeah.
Turned out to be empty 289s.
Yep.
But it
Uh-huh.
doesn't- so be it. But the best one was he had a 507 BMW. You know this one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 507 BMW. You know that body shape?
yeah.
Okay. Leopard skin interior, Cobra drivetrain, 289 Cobra drivetrain on it, and inside, this is the part where you open your mouth, insert foot. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at the inside of this thing, and each of the knobs have something on them. There's like something on it, and I went, who put it looked like gum. I said, it looks like somebody chewed up a chiclet and stuck it on the end of the knob. And I'm saying this, like, who put the crap on the knobs? And there's this very British guy who comes over and he goes, those are individual ivory cameos of Ursula Andress because this is her car. And I was like, still looks like gum.
Yeah. Because it was gum.
But it was a very, very, it had, I can't remember what wheels it had on it. It may have had Barani wires on it or something, but it was the first time I'd ever seen a 507 BMW, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was black. The body was not customized, but the interior was, like I say, leopard skin with chiclets on the deal.
One of the coolest things that Baris ever did that never got any press, I've only seen like 3 pictures of it, was a bubble top E-Type. And it
I'm
was,
unfamiliar with that.
No, I think I do remember that.
yeah,
It was a crazy looking thing. The bubble top, yeah.
that was really good.
Did you ever deal with George?
Oh yeah, George was a great friend.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Did shows with him all over the world for 20 years.
Did you know David Featherston? David wrote the book with George.
There's so many books, but no.
It was the approved. It was Anne approved. George Baris.
David was pretty cool.
David was great. David was great. David was a guy. I got into Flowmaster because of David.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I ended up there. But
English gentleman, right?
Australian.
Australian. So
I probably did meet him, but I'm horrible with too many people.
So before we wrap, moving forward, your focus right now is the restoration of the Uncertainty?
Soon. Not quite. Yeah, there's three big ones on deck. The X-Sonic, which is a 57 Corvette bubble top.
Yep.
The Ultimus, which is the 59 El Camino twin bubble that I actually bought on American Pickers. And
really? Were you on the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the Uncertainty, which is the big one that everybody wants.
ETA them. ETA. 5-year, 10-year, 2-year.
Oh, yeah, probably within the next couple of years. Once I start, I'm fast, but I got like 5 cars going right now, I can't.
Plenty to do.
Yeah.
And these are all happening over at Galpin
at the speed shop.
Galpin Autosports, or
the speed shop is separate.
You're the backside.
No, it's a whole different place.
Wow, I didn't even know that. I'm gonna have
it's
to
a
go
secret
visit.
place.
I would love to visit.
You can't go.
It's like the Galpin Skunk Works.
I like it.
Yeah.
Any discussed plans ahead of time of once it is completed, the Uncertainty, once it is completed, where an unveiling, where is it going to be at Galpin? Is it going to be at Grand National?
I think Grand National is the only place to unveil the restored car.
I would agree with that.
And then follow it up with Detroit.
Place. Sure.
Yep, and maybe a couple of the other bigger shows. I had a lot of fun with it in Chicago this year. Maybe take it to the Wheel Hub thing at the Speedway Museum.
Yeah,
those are great friends.
I'm very involved with that.
You did that. Not so long ago.
Yeah, they have 2 of our cars there now, the Emperor and the Wild Dream.
So where are all these cars on display?
They're at the speed shop.
They are at the speed shop.
But it's not open.
Okay.
But if you...
We're going to run photos.
If you contact me through like Instagram and ask nicely and I'm available, I can let people come and see.
I will be as pleasant as I possibly can. How's that?
Cool.
No, that's awesome.
I mean, it's a really great place. It's ever evolving. I've been working on it, but I can only do so much in the building while I'm doing the cars and everything. But
do you have photos?
It's really pretty
cars?
special.
You have photos of all these cars that we can use to illustrate on our podcast? That'd be awesome. Because we got our production group that'll let people see what we're talking about, so that we can definitely link into that.
It's cool that you get to touch so much history.
That's why I do this.
Yeah.
Is just to make sure it doesn't get lost.
Yeah. That's neat that it's bringing back to life something that was so neat and special once back then, and now it can be neat and special again, which is a very unique opportunity.
I like a lot of the things that are being built now, and I have a lot of friends building really great stuff, but I just don't see it inspiring kids or people the way this wacky stuff did.
That was certainly a very special time in the automotive evolution. Everything was just on fire, you know.
Well, the creativity was through the roof, and I think now everyone is so just stuck on their phone. They're not as
I agree
as ready to go.
It's
just
not as
tackle
fertile
things.
ground too. Before it was the Wild West. Do it. What was the one the bathroom car with the toilets and the?
We have that too.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's the scariest thing I've ever drove.
Oh, I would probably believe that. Egad.
Slippery?
Yeah, just
Slippery
it's just
way.
all wrong.
Oh, but it was creativity in action.
Exactly. That was Ed Newton that designed that.
That was Newton too. Yep, indeed. Extremely cool.
You have a vast knowledge, sir.
I do.
You do.
That's frightening.
I'm impressed.
Okay.
I'm impressed because
I got nothing else to do. I just sit there and read.
I built, I don't know how many of those cars, the model kits. And I remember seeing, stuff that was at your shop.
Sure.
I think the last time I saw it, it was at the back
at the
side
other
of
place,
the old side.
Well, it helps. Like I said, I've got the complete collection of Hot Rod magazines, so I can go back and visit.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
The actual photographs when somebody finished that car and showed up at the whatever it was.
Not only do I do that, I have every catalog of every aftermarket part from like, call it 54 till like 80.
The catalog.
So when I'm restoring something,
so you can reference
I
the
can
weird
see
little
when
scoops
something
and
came in the market
yep.
and when it left the market, so things are accurate.
Yeah, and important.
Yeah,
for an accurate reproduction.
Sure,
I agree 100%. And it's fun. It's a treasure hunt.
It is fun.
It is indeed.
So how many cars do you have altogether? You mentioned you had 10 Baris. You have 50 cars?
Is this in the...
At least 50.
At least 50.
This is in the...
At the speed
Galpin.
shop. Yeah, the Galpin speed shop.
You yourself, do you still have some you personally own?
Yeah, I've got my 32 sedan. I'm building a 32 Roadster, my 59 Impala Custom. Cool. I just sold a 50 Merc last week.
Yeah, so you're still tinkering for you.
Yeah, a little bit, but not too much.
It's good to have some wheels.
Cobbler shoes, you know?
Yeah, I know the feeling. Trust me. I understand. Shoemaker without the shoes.
Yeah. I can imagine the paint research has got to be just over the top, too, trying to find
That's
exactly
a lot.
the right color.
And somebody who can pull off that look.
I have to do it.
Yeah, the painting styles are very different, and the materials are different, and they react differently. Because when we were up, were you at the Wheel Hub thing this year?
No,
Okay.
I was there a couple weeks before.
Oh, okay. Well, last year and this year, one of the stops on the reliability run is a Gentleman's Collection.
Oh, I know that. Yeah.
Right. The first collection.
That guy.
The impressive one.
Yep.
And he's got a panel painted 69 Camaro there. It's like a SS like Pro stock. And one of my good friends, one of my best friends, who's an amazing, incredible painter out of Ohio, has been doing it all his life. But he does airbrush and graphics, not just full painting.
Yeah.
He's very educated to the older styles of stuff too. And we were looking at it, and he's like, whoever did this car back then, it was really genius use of the body panels, and someone was paying attention to seams and edges and rolls, and they brought in a bunch of different techniques, and it almost looks overload, but it isn't. But he was explaining how, mist it out dry and then use this and do that. And he already commented, he goes, it's hard to reproduce because the materials aren't the same, so they don't act the same, and they don't react the same,
especially in this state.
Yes, especially in this state. I share your disdain, sir, for Satan, otherwise known as the EPA.
Yes,
right. Yeah. The destroyer of all things cool and fun. And they are. But so it's neat. For you out there that aren't, obviously you're watching this because you're into cars, but when you're doing something like what he's doing, besides the unbelievable bottomless amount of treasure hunting and finding and researching, and then everything needed to accurately put the car back to the way it was, you have hurdles that you guys aren't even thinking about. Like, he needs the materials that look right from that day for the interior, and to pull off certain paint jobs to look accurate. It's hard when you're not using the materials from that day. They use certain guns, certain air pressure, certain paints, thinners, etc. It doesn't exist anymore, so trying to replicate that look or that texture is even more difficult because you don't have the same tools or products to use. And that adds for another level of difficulties, because now you have to find a way to make it look right without the actual materials used from the day, and that increases the difficulty level to try and pull it off accurately. So there's a lot to do. In other words, hug your show car builder. You kind of it's more difficult than you think, and there's a lot of steps involved to make it accurate and correct on all fronts, not just that's chromed like it was and that's painted like it was. It's not that simple to do it right. Now, lots of bottomless, thankless nonsense to get it accurate. So when you get the opportunity to see one of his creations, take the time to look around and understand that just didn't happen on a weekend. And it just didn't happen with bottomless money. It happened with attention to detail and talent and research and give a damn. So take a good look. When the uncertainty's done, I guarantee you he'll have it spot on. Take a look around and think to yourself, wow, how do you even get that material? That doesn't exist anymore. Where do you get that vinyl? Where do you get that, whatever that is? Take a good look.
It's not assembly line?
No, it's not. It's not even a snap
Okay,
together
don't
kit.
dip it.
No, there's no dip
Dip
it.
it. Spray it. There you
And with that,
Yes.
I'm sure we need to go.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to let Cam here.
Can you
Speaking
believe
of dipping,
Can you believe? Yeah. There you go. Can you believe you didn't think you'd make it 45 minutes, huh?
you guys talk a lot.
Yeah, we do. It's good. It's part of what we do. Thank you for watching Car Guy Confessions without Jeff Smith, but Jeff will be back soon. Thanks to ARP-bolts.com, ARP products. Awesome stuff. We love it. We
And the museum.
use it. And, of course, the Petersen Museum for letting us all set up here and use their backdrops. Very much. And
Good
Dave,
stuff.
thank you very much.
Thanks,
Appreciate
buddy.
Hey,
your
how does
time.
everybody see? Is there an online thing to look at for the collection? Where people can look at videos or pictures just to see the stuff we're
I
talking
think
about?
all you have to do is Google
Galpin?
Speed Shop or
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Okay, sure.
It's easy to find.
Galpin Speed Shop, go check it out, and you can see all the crazy stuff we're talking about. He's very impressive, and the cars are a total history trip. Super cool stuff.
Bygone era.
That's right.
Absolutely.
From
Thanks.
whence we came.
Exactly. Thanks for watching.